Hi, hello, happy Sabbath, and Shabbat Shalom. And the goats send their greeting too. Starting in here, because this past week Mom has done some more cleaning and tidying up in here, making this place look better. Of course, I carried out those cement blocks. She'll still have to clean around under there. And this stuff, it turns out, I still have, to my shock and awe, some floor base epoxy. I didn't think I had any, but I've got 1 gallon of it. Don't know how far a gallon and a quart, 5 quarts of it. Don't know how far I'll get with it, but I have it. And I've been wishing I had more of it anyhow, because I got some places I need to put it. I don't know what's in here, but dried food of some kind. Creamy potato soup. And oh, Texas style chili. I'm sure while they're out here, I think I had them out from a long time ago and didn't put them back. Now, other than that, these supposedly called Christmas cacti are actually already blooming, and we're just now in mid-November. In fact, they started around the 1st of October, so it's the only one I can see that's blooming at the moment. But it is. And then, of course, I almost lost the tree there. Hopefully I haven't. I pulled all the dead top off of it so it can freely open up and bloom again. I took the fan out because we're getting into cold weather, so that I can reduce the excessive amount of wintertime cooling. Everything in here is pretty much the same as it was. Of course, that tomato plant went ahead and died, as I figured it probably would, so I didn't bother trying too hard to save it. My spindly pear looks really terrible right now. In fact, it looks like it is dying. So I'm probably going to have to do something to it before it fully dies. We still have not, of course, there's those fishing poles that we ought to do something with one of these days, but I don't fish, so I don't know why I got them. Still have to do something with these aloe vera plants and several of the other plants that are needing to be repotted. She has put a few aloe vera plants in other places, of course. Now, well, this has been a very eventful week. This is going to be a very short video because the bulk of what I did is right here. And I'm still working on it, of course, but what I have going on, you see I've got my cords and everything, and the light's already on, because I am rebuilding the boys' pen to make certain that there's no girls in the way. Yeah, Dilly, she's in here freeloading, and of course Hans is over there looking on longingly, forlornly. So Jill's in here eating some of the leftover grain that I had. I had them in here briefly. And if you notice, Mr. Snookum is now in this field where he is not real happy with life, because he was taken away from the harem, and then he was soundly tromped on by boss man there, Mr. O'Malley. Hans, what you doing? Yes, Hans. Anyhow, so you see the cement blocks in here. I'm digging this out, putting in some cement block walls. I've got this feeder box, which I videoed putting together one day. And we'll put this whole wall in with sheet metal, and that way it'll be secure. Then this chain link fence is going to come out part way out here, from the corner of the building, possibly as far as that mulberry tree and over. And the idea being is that the inside run will be big enough to easily accommodate all the boys when I have to keep them out of the field. You may or may not notice a strap dangling from Mr. Snookum's neck. It's technically wrapped around his horns, and that is in theory to help reduce the chance of him breaking the legs of another goat, because he's hooked Mr. O'Malley's legs a couple times. Somehow they didn't end up broken, but it could have happened. Now we got a little rain this week, not much, so we don't have much in the way of new green growth back. We have some, but and there's clover. Tomorrow I plan on putting some of the girls that are in safe protection back out in the pen, in general population here. Sugar and Daisy. For a fact, Daisy's mama is dead, so she's not in there for any other reason to keep her from being beaten up by the billy goats, the boys. Snippy snap. Here's a snippy snap. I've got this wire up here at the moment because it's to help keep them from hopping over the fence at this point. I had to use it to help keep Mr. Snookums from jumping over while I was in the process of catching him. Candy. Here's a candy. Here's a candy. Nice. Here's our candy. Yeah, so pretty much that's all that really has happened down here. Except we went to look at a field that somebody is trying to get somebody to bale it on shares. My brother may or may not go for that. He may decide to not bale it. I'm hoping he does, both because of the fact that it's the only way he's really going to get back into baling full time. And I need the hay. And eventually, if he got enough fields together, especially ones that are close to each other, he could start running it as a profitable business. Whereas right now, he's still getting the bugs worked out of his machine, so it's not ready to be a full-time business yet. But I need the hay real bad, so guaranteed anything he was to bale will be sold. He won't have any extra hay on his hands. That's for a fact, because I have been using one bale of hay per day for a while, and I'm almost out of the 71 bales, and I guess it was 15 other bales too I got from his farm, which I guess would be 86 bales. So when I'm out of that, then I either have to go buy hay from a complete stranger for a high price, or I work with him, do part of the work myself, pay for the fuel, and then pay for the hay. And even if I paid the same amount, it's to my brother, not to a stranger. And so I have not yet gotten over here and picked the remainder of the grapes. But if you look on the cab of this truck, just since it's been sitting here a couple days, it's got chewed up grapes on it, because the birds and or squirrels come up there and eat them. So I still need to get in there and finish picking them. The gentian lost all of its leaves from this past year, but I did see that it appears to have a bud which should reopen in the spring, I'm hoping. So while it kind of looked like it had died, it's actually not dead. In fact, it actually, oops, it's out of focus. It appears that the bud is opening, which might not be a great idea at this time of year, but yeah, it does look like it's trying to grow again. Now it's supposed to flower in the fall. This apparently is another gentian here, as I pointed out, and I think there's another one up here somewhere. And seeing they're perennial, if they don't die from freezing, in theory, this might be one right here too. In theory, they're supposed to bloom in the fall, late fall, and there's a couple what might be one there too. Hopefully there's a bunch of them. I don't know. We'll see. So pretty much, that's the extent of all the real news and developments this week. It's not been a real exciting week, and no major earthworks have been done. So for the most part, it's been just a little bit of rebuilding. Also, of course, we had the babies, we had the hooves on some of them trimmed. Here, Harvey here, he got his hooves trimmed. He was not happy, but he didn't fight, really. All things considered, he could have struggled a lot harder. He just kind of laid slack and let it happen for the most part, so I was pretty happy that he didn't fight. Mr. O'Malley squirmed a little bit, but he got his hoofs trimmed. Mr. Snookums, well, he fought like the dickens, but I literally pinned him to the ground. Harvey got through the pen, crawled under it, and got away. He did get his hooves trimmed, but they probably aren't that bad. And the little boys didn't get their hooves trimmed, but they weren't all that bad either. So some of them that needed it real bad, a lot of the mamas, especially in the baby pens, got their hooves trimmed. But some of them didn't. And I was so tired, especially wrangling with Mr. Snookums, because now he's not as big as Mr. O'Malley, but he's a real fighter, and I had to literally pin him to the ground for like 15 minutes to get him to give up and stop fighting. I hate to have to do it, but it's a lot less injurious than beating on him, so it's a safer thing to do than that. Besides, beating on them doesn't seem to convince them as much as just pinning them to the ground. They hate being on their back. But yeah, unfortunately I can't think of anything else that I can report on around here. So we'll see you next Sabbath.